highly anticipated Duke-Michigan basketball game set for December 21st at Madison Square Garden has been scrapped due to a problem with broadcast rights.
Live from the heart of SEC country, this is your daily fix of grit, guts, and gridiron glory. Welcome to the Deep South College Football Show.
Bowen, here he goes! Georgia retakes the lead!
Breaking down the biggest matchups, the boldest takes, and the deepest rivalries in college football on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Intercepted! They confused him! Xavier Brown headed the other way! Touchdown Tide!
From Fayetteville to Gainesville, from the Grove to Toomer's Corner, it's SEC football.
Chambers delivers! Touchdown!
Now, here's your award-winning host, Wyatt Fulton.
And welcome into another edition of the Deep South College Football Show right here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide sports. We got the gentlemen hanging out back with us here in the Tide 100.9 studios. Gentlemen, how we doing today? Jackson, you pulling some long hours today. You doing all right, man? Good. Happy Friday, everybody. Whitman Clark, who's been with us all week long, was with me in Tampa, Florida for SEC Media Days this past week. Whitman, you're not tired of being on the air yet? Yeah, you never are. Oh, that must be nice. Yeah, that 5 a.m. wake-up call. Chase is out the last couple of days this week. Jackson and Reed did a great job filling in yesterday production-wise, but I came in this morning at 6 o'clock, and that was a nasty wake-up call this morning.
I do not envy you.
Well, it may not be too far down the line, but we'll see. We'll see here. Regardless, though, we were at Tampa, Florida for SEC Media Days. You got a lot of great interviews, talked with a lot of incredible people, and it was a lot of fun down there in Tampa, Florida here this week. Here, Whitman, I want to ask you this. Now that we've completed the trip, now that we've somehow survived the 9.5-hour drive, felt longer than that, but I think it did end up being about 9.5 hours back from Tampa, Florida yesterday. What was your favorite part of SEC Media Days, as it was the first time that you got to go to that event?
Selfishly, the credibility that I allowed myself in going to say, yeah, this is pretty cool. Just doing the kind of stuff that, I love to do. The reason I'm in sports media, ask questions, figure things out, talk about, the greatest sport on earth outside of what baseball used to be. College football is the darling of America, and I want to be around it as much as humanly possible. And what better way than around the best players in the country, the best coaches in the country, some of the more, I'm not going to say best media members in the country, but some
entertaining, to say the very least. A lot of people are very entertaining.
Sure. Some talking heads for sure. I'm not going to say Paul Feinbaum is the best college football journalist on earth after his
whatever that was
soapbox that we call Media Days week, but
yeah.
There's some others there that I do respect.
Still a lot of fun out there, though. It was a lot of fun in Tampa. So we'll recap SEC Media Days today. The media preseason poll was released today, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And I have a challenge for somebody. I don't know who the hell it was, but I've got a challenge for this guy, and we'll get to that here in a little while here today on the program. But Jackson, you were hanging out back in the studio all week, kind of helping us facilitate things, keeping home base safe here as Ryan Fowler, Whitman, and myself were down in Tampa for SEC Media Days. So we were in the thick of things. So we may be a little bit biased because we got to talk with a lot of different people down there. But from your perspective, who won SEC Media Days this week? Was there a coach? Was there a program that you just were blown away by what they said or what they did down in Tampa, Florida? Who would you deem as the winner in the past week in Tampa?
After listening to all the head coaches speak and give their rundown of what they feel like they're going to do this season, I do feel like this might be a bit of a, not stretch, but outside the box thinking here. I think Ryan Silverfield actually kind of stepped up and put a little bit of respect on his name. and showed the conference that he's not shying away from, being down there in poo pig country. Now he's trying to bring it back to woo pig country,
Absolutely. I thought he did a really good job, and he had a little fire to him, right? Somebody had stepped up and asked and said, hey, what do you say to those who doubt you? And he goes, what'd you say my record was against coaches in this conference? And 5-1. He's 5-1 against coaches in the SEC, current coaches of the SEC. Now, granted, he was doing that at a G6 program that maybe wasn't playing the Bamas, the Georgias, the Oklahomas of the world. But, this is a guy that, beat an SEC team last year in Arkansas with the Memphis Tigers there. And a lot of those players did come with him to Arkansas, including quarterback, running back. So it'll be interesting to see. But, I agree. I think Ryan Silverfield did a really good job of commanding the podium. I have no idea what the hell that means for him as a football coach. I have no idea what the hell that's going to mean when, you're between the white lines and you got Kirby Smart and Gunnar Stockton and Nate Frazier and all those guys on the other side there. But I thought he did a really good job commanding the podium. Whitman, I feel like you and I have the same answer for who won SEC Media Days.
In terms of the entertaining spectacle that it was, it's Pistol Pete.
Yeah.
It's
Pete Golden.
He is first.
He said
team,
I think I said it at some point.
Media Day.
Yeah, I think I said it at some point on the drive back yesterday. It was a long drive, so forgive me if I get this wrong here. He stepped up to that podium as Peter Golding. He stepped off of that podium as Pete Golden.
Yes,
that 100%. He did an incredible job.
Like if we got to vote on Media Day itself, he is first team All Media Day at the head coaching position. No, at the microphone position.
In terms of likability, because I think a lot of people, especially in Tuscaloosa, they're not the biggest fans of Pete Golding because of the way his Alabama tenure ended, right? Took over as the defensive coordinator Tosh Lupoy was the defensive coordinator for a little bit there in that 2018 season. By the time we got to the national championship, it was pretty well known that Pete Golding was commanding most of that defense. Lupoy leaves, and Golding takes over as the full-time defensive coordinator in 2019. And he was dealt kind of a crappy hand in 2019 with both your starting inside linebackers tearing their ACLs. Joshua McMillan and Dylan Moses both tore their ACLs before a snap was ever played, going into that season there. And so you're running out there with Shane Lee and Christian Harris, two true freshmen that have never played college football. And you just have to survive at that point, right? As these guys grow and learn and develop. And then 2020, I thought was his best work as Alabama's defensive coordinator from the second half of the Ole Miss game in 2020 to about the first half of the SEC championship. He was on an incredible run, and Alabama's defense was playing at a very, very elite level. Now, Florida made their comeback in the second half, but Alabama comes out with the victory in that game against the Gators in Atlanta. Alabama beats Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl that's played in Dallas, Texas, because COVID restrictions out in California, and then the national championship game. But Pete Golding was the defensive coordinator at Alabama until 2022. He leaves Alabama, just flat out left Alabama. And it wasn't like for a head coaching position, wasn't like he got fired. He just said, hey, I'm done in Tuscaloosa. I'm going to go be the defensive coordinator at Ole Miss. And it was a bit of an odd situation. I think, and Pete Golding said during his time at the podium this week, is strictly family decision. That's all it was in his decision to leave Alabama and take the same position at Ole Miss. Got into some issues here in Tuscaloosa, but I think in terms of likability rating, Pete Golding shot up everybody's board this week.
And as entertaining as he was, I thought he made one good point that while it was charismatic, I thought he did a good job. I'm a big fan of the coaches that are not scared to call out what's happening in college football. We talk about the Clemson Ole Miss thing a lot and the tampering situation. That was asked about when Pete Golding was at the podium, and I've always been a fan of Dabo Swinney and his ability to say, hey, look, they're doing this. They're doing this, and not even if he is a part of it or not, which he's not big on the portal, so he hasn't really been committing a lot of the crimes, but he's not scared to call people out. I was really happy when Pete Golding got on that little rant about the insanity that is a do not contact tag in the transfer portal, because that's pretty much the unspoken way of saying, I've been talking to somebody throughout the season which is tampering. I already know where I'm going to go.
That's illegal.
I already know where I'm going to go. It's already been decided. I'm just trying to find out how much money you're going to pay me. That's illegal in professional sports, in professional basketball, professional football. You can't do that.
What's insane to me is the do not contact tag used to mean, hey, like when it was first introduced with the transfer portal, the way that everything was originally supposed to work was, hey, don't talk to me. Go talk to my agent or go talk to my representation. And now at this point, it's just, it means, hey, yeah, he was tampered with. Somebody's been talking to him since week 3.
Yep.
And we know exactly where he's going to end up. And it happened a lot. It happens a lot more now.
And he also went on to the point of why are the athletic directors and, the coaches of these institutions, why are they also complaining when you think athletic directors aren't calling head coaches in the middle of the season asking about jobs the same way that agents and other head coaches are asking players?
Yeah.
I mean, coaches are being tampered with as much as the kids, but we overlook it because, we don't look at it as taking advantage of a younger, more, inexperienced mind, an unexperienced football player, somebody who's not well versed in the business world of the sport. These head coaches just get away with it. I mean, hell, they pranced out the poster boy of it on Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin.
Which he was a lot more subdued than I expected this week, but it seems like the LSU PR department has done this is a wild statement coming out of LSU, but the LSU PR department has done a really good job of keeping things quiet, keeping things controlled, which is insane to think about when you start thinking about it. It's Lane Kiffin and it's LSU, but they've done a really good job starting to quiet a lot of that noise.
And I think they realize it's not just the football department that people hate nowadays. I think LSU, after you could go as far into women's basketball and say, we know Kim Mulkey's a bit charismatic sometimes and rubs people the wrong way. The baseball program is really good. If anybody in Tuscaloosa is wondering what I mean by that, the entire world hates Alabama because they were the best team in college football for 2 decades. When you're good, people don't like you. LSU, baseball, people aren't always a big fan of them. You look at the basketball team. They just hired maybe the most controversial coach in the country back on their staff. And the reason he's controversial is what he did while he was here.
Yeah, FBI investigation.
Not to mention, Lane Kiffin's not exactly,
squeaky clean.
No, he's not. No. I mean, his track record is not exactly a fresh whiteboard. He has a couple of infractions, in his own right.
That he does. So, but I thought Pete Golding did a really, really good job on Wednesday. Again, likability rating. Not a lot of people want to hear this. Not a lot of people know this, but when a coach is maybe not the best coach in the world, right? He may not be, the Nick Saban of his program, the Kirby Smart of his program. 90% of these coaches get fired at some point. It is going to happen. You are going to be fired at some point in that profession. If the media likes you, if you're a good person, it probably is going to get you an extra season, maybe even 2, compared to what Beamer. Shane Beamer is a great human being. He's a great guy. I thought he was gone last season. Sam Pittman at Arkansas, I thought should have been fired a season and a half ago, not in the middle of week 4 last year. Right? So if you're a good person, if you are a likable guy or the media likes you, guess what? You're probably going to get an extra season of grace, which I don't know that you can really turn everything around like that quick in 1 year, but you're given the opportunity to.
And I mean, Mark Stoops arguably got probably 4 years because of that. Yeah. So
if you're a likable guy, if you're a likable person, you're probably going to get Billy Napier at Florida. I thought he got an extra year, even though maybe he had the turnaround that they were wanting in 2024 after they rattled off random wins during that season that we all expected him to be gone in. Go ahead.
Apparently, I don't know Mike Norvell to be very likable in the media, but he must be a phenomenal dude off the field to have a job this long. I'm starting to believe at this point he's got to be volunteering at soup kitchens, animal shelters.
He's buying bar tabs for media members.
Every church in Tallahassee, he is there in the offering plate every morning, making his rounds, doing his good deeds, because I don't know him to be overly likable in the media like an Eli Drinkowitz type, fun guy, or apparently Elia Drinkowitz. but
it's Eli Drinkwitz. Yeah.
Okay. That was.
You learned a lot about the SEC this week.
Yeah, we did. We did.
We did. It was a fun time. It was a fun time in the Southeastern Conference. So, and Tampa did an incredible job. I was very skeptical of the fact that we were going to Tampa, Florida, completely outside of the SEC footprint. Whitman, 2 hours south of Gainesville, who's the most southern team in the SEC with the Florida Gators. But Tampa did a really, really good job. I was really impressed with what they did. The events were awesome. The media hotel was incredible. The ballroom was beautiful. I thought Tampa did a really, really good job of hosting SEC Media Days. And outside of the fact that it's not in the SEC footprint, I wouldn't hate if Tampa hosts SEC Media Days again. Again, it's 9 hours from Tuscaloosa. So that's my one complaint, is it's really far away and it's outside of the SEC's footprint. That's the only complaint I've got. They did an incredible job this past week here in Tampa. And again, wouldn't hate if SEC Media Days makes another reappearance in Tampa. I think if they do that again, I'm flying next time, because that drive was not great. Not great. We'll go ahead and take our first time out here for our radio listeners here on the Deep South College Football Show. When we come back, we'll take a look at the projected order of finish in the SEC, who was picked to win the SEC championship, and I've got a challenge for one random media member out there, because what the hell is going on? So we'll talk about it next, right here on the Deep South College Football Show on Tide 100.9.
$2,500 in cash. This July, let freedom and fortune ring at Pearl River Resort. Must be 21 or older to play.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Watch for heavy downpours. A flood watch in place for Walker and Winston counties through tomorrow morning. The sunshine, warm high 90 degrees and a light west breeze. Thunderstorms become likely this afternoon, tapering to a chance of storms overnight tonight down to 75. Storm chances linger into Saturday before dangerous near 100-degree heat returns on Monday. Keep that umbrella handy as we roll through the next day or so. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 89 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Where the season never ends. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Quick break, but we're right back here on the Deep South College Football Show. Tide 100.9 and 12:30 AM WTBC. Let's take a look at the projected order of the finish in the SEC. So for those that don't know, during media days, members of the media that attend media days, we get to vote on a projected order of finish in the SEC, as well as preseason all SEC teams. Whitman filled out that ballot like 4 times, dude, because your computer kept crashing.
So you pick all 16 teams. It's 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 6 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 9 tackles and guards on the offensive line. 12.
Yep.
12
tackles and guards
on the offensive line, 3 centers, 12 defensive linemen, 9 linebackers,
12 defensive backs,
12 DBs, 3 kickers, 3 punters, 3 return specialists, all-purpose guys, long snappers. 3 long snappers had to be voted on. I got all the way down through the defensive backs. I was to the punter, and my ballot just erased from the face of the internet. Tried to do it again. I got halfway through my linebackers. That ballot went down the same black hole that the first one did. So my real one may not have been as truly pinpoint accurate as I wanted it to be, because I did it on the way home yesterday and I couldn't quite remember every single player, team, in every single spot. I do feel very happy with mine, because I saw that once Alabama dropped their 6 players that made all SEC teams, I'm pretty sure I had voted all of them to be in about the exact same categories that they were.
You did. You also had Dejoun Lee on there, which I had Dejoun Lee on my ballot, the upcoming sophomore cornerback at Alabama. If DJ Pickett's on that list, which he was, I feel like Dejoun Lee should be on that list. But there's a lot of great defensive backs in the SEC. The entire first team is just Alabama and Georgia's secondary.
Yes, it is.
The entire first team is. But we got to pick projected order of finish here, and this is what came out from the media poll. This is the projected order of finish in the Southeastern Conference. Georgia is projected as first in the SEC. This is not necessarily to win the SEC championship. This is the projected order of finish in the regular season. Georgia's projected to be the top team in the SEC yet again this season.
That's kind of surprising.
I was kind of shocked because everybody that I talked to down in Tampa was saying Texas. They've got the talent. They've got the quarterback. They went and got both the best running backs or two of the best running backs in the portal. They went and got the best wide receiver to enter the transfer portal. Everybody that I talked to said Texas was the team to pick. I thought I was bucking the trend picking Georgia. I'll show everybody my ballot here in a minute. I thought I was bucking the trend to pick Georgia to win the SEC. Apparently not. Apparently I'm just a part of the big hive mind in the Southeastern Conference because Georgia projected to finish first in the SEC.
You picked smart.
I can never go wrong picking Kirby Smart.
Literally, I suppose. But your ballot looked a little different throughout, top to bottom. Mine did.
Had a couple of these teams in similar spots. I had Georgia, Texas 1-2. Yep. So for the record, my ballot is Texas. This is the number one team in the regular season. Georgia's number 2. Those two go to Atlanta, and Georgia wins the SEC championship. That's my ballot, which I did put out on social media for those that care to see it prior to me showing it on here. Fun fact, according to John Neighbors of Inside Arkansas, Arkansas's pick to finish dead last with the fewest number of points ever that we've been doing this SEC media poll.
That's a big gap. That
is a large gap between 15 and 16.
205 points.
There's a larger gap between Mississippi State and Arkansas than there is Georgia and Texas.
Hell, there's almost as big of a gap between Mississippi State and Arkansas as there is Arkansas and 0.
There's a bigger gap between 15 and 16 in the SEC than there is 14 and 7.
Wow.
Or not 14 and 7,
No.
4 and 7. Excuse me, 4 and 7. 4 and 7. I'm sorry, I can't count. Like I said, I'm exhausted.
We're journalists.
Yeah, we're journalism majors. I'm not a math major here, but that's the projected order of finish. Some news and notes here. Oklahoma, granted, there's such a tight window between 4 and 7, less than 100 points. If you want to get technical, there's less than 100 points between 3 and 7 as well. Oklahoma, a little bit lower than I expected here. Alabama projected to finish number 6. LSU sitting 31 points ahead at number 5. Even with a subdued Lane Kiffin, it does seem like everybody's riding the LSU hype train this year. When they go and get Jordan Seaton, they go and add the guys that they added via the transfer portal. They bring in Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss to command that offense. Sam Leavitt, the starting quarterback there, after transferring in from Arizona State here. Is there anything that, outside of the fact that Arkansas is horrendously far down that list, and Georgia, Texas, and everybody else with 400 points difference between Texas and Ole Miss at 2 and 3 there, roughly 400. Is there anything else that stands out on this list?
I'm kind of shocked that Ole Miss is at 3. While I don't disagree with it or don't think that that's not possible or could very likely happen, I would have put A&M up there, and I'm kind of surprised that LSU or Oklahoma is not even higher. But Ole Miss being at 3, yes, you do return an outstanding quarterback and running back duo. Mm-hmm. But to me, there's still a lot of questions on the surrounding pieces of that team to legitimize them being a top 3 finish.
Yeah.
I think what happened with Ole Miss is, I make an analogy, when it comes to politics, it comes down to economics. People vote with their wallet. If somebody's in office, they're making a lot of money, they're going to vote for that guy again. If not, they're going to vote for somebody else. In media, it seems to me more times than not, people vote with their quarterbacks. It's a safe choice.
That's a good point.
You go, the best quarterback in the conference is probably going to play well, is probably going to finish high. Ole Miss is not as good of a team as the top 2 seeds, despite beating one of them last year, but that's a different story.
Also lost to one of them last year.
They did. But people are predicting Trinidad Chambliss to go to New York. By this ballot is what it tells me. They're predicting him to be in the Heisman race late in the season. They're predicting Kawan Lacey to have another big year out of the backfield, and maybe they're trusting the Pete Golding defense to elevate as well now that he's the head football coach.
This is the predicted order of finish in the Southeastern Conference, and this is from the SEC. Like I didn't. This is just a screenshot of my email inbox here. This is not necessarily predicted to win the SEC championship, although the media members did select Georgia in that as well here. As you look at this screenshot from my email inbox, Georgia received 88 votes to win the SEC championship. Texas received 57. Next highest is Ole Miss at 6.
However, they sent us something in this email. Only 10 out of 34 voted on predicted conference champions have ever followed through as champions since 1992. I mean, I'm
fairly certain most of those were also Alabama.
I looked at the history of, it was either on that packet they gave us when we got there or somewhere on the internet, predicted champion versus champion at the end of the year. A lot of the times that Alabama was picked, they didn't win. And it was a lot of the times that it was Georgia or LSU picked to win that Alabama would go and win the conference. But they do, I think out of that 10, Alabama is responsible for 4 or 5 of those years on their own.
I am currently thumbing through this little Media Days packet that we got here to see if I can find this list here, because they did have it all listed out here for us here. But next highest is Ole Miss at number 6. Texas A&M comes in with 5 votes. Alabama, only 3 people that were in Tampa, Florida, voted for Alabama to win the SEC.
Who's the crackhead that picked Kentucky?
Okay. This is my challenge here. Whatever lunatic picked Kentucky, I'm going to stare into the camera for this here. All right, we're going to clip this one and put it up on social media. Whatever lunatic picked Kentucky to win the SEC, please step forward. Please, you have an open invitation to come on this show, because I got to hear your reasoning, dude. I don't know who, or dudette, I don't care. Whoever you are, whatever your ballot looked like, I don't care about anything other than the fact that you picked Kentucky. And if you come on this show and justify your Kentucky pick, I assume you're a Kentucky beat writer. Pardon me if that assumption is wrong. If you are a Kentucky beat writer and you pick Kentucky and you come on this show and defend your pick, I will buy you dinner and a beer when I get to Lexington for the Alabama and Kentucky game. I got to know who did this.
And if you're not a Kentucky beat writer, then please explain your position even further.
Please, for the love of God, I got to know who the hell picked Kentucky. Hey, we got our boy Simon in the studio now. What's up, Simon? We're talking a little SEC Media Days. It's been a hot minute. Glad you're back here. Any thoughts on one lunatic media member that picked Kentucky to win the SEC? I just issued a challenge. If they come on and defend their pick, I'll buy them dinner when I get to Lexington for that game.
Pick. I'm from Kentucky. I was born in Kentucky. I would not pick Kentucky. Go blue, but
that's fair.
Not picking Kentucky. And maybe I'm not a good media member, but I don't know one player on Kentucky's team right now.
You don't know Kenny Minchie?
Oh, I do know Kenny Minchie. Okay, there we go.
What about Willie Rodriguez, third team All-SEC tight end in the preseason? Willie Rodriguez?
Listen, I haven't been locked in on college football for the last 6 weeks.
Shame.
I was a camp counselor for a bunch of 7-year-olds. That's what I was focused on. I was making sure they don't kill each other.
Shame on you, Simon Besnoy. Wow.
I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it.
Yeah, we got to work on that because fall camp starts in like a week and a half. So we got to get on that.
I'll do my homework.
There you go. Yeah, now you've got homework. The high school employees got homework now over the summer. All right, I've got the official list here of teams that were projected to win the SEC and then ended up winning the SEC. You've got Florida in 1994, Florida in 1995, so Florida's on here twice, LSU in 2007, Florida in 2008. That's 3 times we've got the Gators doing this now. Alabama in 2014. Auburn was picked to win the SEC in 2015. They finished 7th in the West. For reference, weren't there only 7 teams in the West that year?
There were 14 teams in the conference. East-West, that's 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Who says journalists can't do math?
I'm proud of you. 2018, Alabama was picked to win. They won the SEC championship. 2020 and 2021, Alabama was picked to win the SEC. They won it both those years. 2024, Georgia was picked to win the SEC. They won it that year. That is the most recent time it has happened with Georgia. So Alabama and Florida populate the vast majority of this list, who ironically were the first two teams to ever play in the SEC championship. So when you take a look at this, 88 of us, myself included, picked Georgia to win the SEC. Texas got 57 votes. Whitman, you sent me your ballot, and I meant to make a graphic about it, but you didn't post. But you haven't posted the last 4 that I've sent you. So, I wasn't too upset about not making a graphic. Who'd you have winning the SEC?
It was Georgia. It was Georgia. Okay. It was Georgia, Texas, Alabama third, and then you told me. Go ahead.
Who do you think the 3 that picked Bama were? Fowler.
Fowler.
Who else?
He picked Texas.
Did he pick Texas? Really?
Georgia.
Oh, wow. How the mighty have fallen.
Did Greg McElroy get a little homesick, maybe? I don't know.
Definitely not. I don't know. I'm at Roman Harper. All right, so I'm going to give that to Roman. Roman probably picked Alabama. Nick Saban was there.
I say, is he
Did he pick did he pick the Crimson Tide?
He's big in the business of supplying the boys in Tuscaloosa with the opposite of rat poison. Giving them some cheese. Mice like cheese.
Okay.
Motivation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. Rat poison, rat cheese.
Okay.
That's gonna stick one day.
Oh, okay. Sure. Only 10 times has it happened where the media has correctly predicted the SEC champion at the start of the year. So when you see that and you see Georgia's projected to win the SEC by almost 30 votes, it could very well happen. We've done this for 32 years now, and 10 times it's happened. So roughly math again, roughly 30%, 33% of the time we're right, but take it with a grain of salt when you get worked up about the fact that Georgia was picked to win the SEC.
My question is, if so many people are picking Georgia to win the SEC, why are they so down on Gunnar Stockton?
13 team all SEC. I don't know. A lot of people don't like Gunnar Stockton, man. It's so odd, too.
Which is a shame because Gunnar Stockton likes everybody. He's such a good dude. Why do you not like Gunnar Stockton, man? It just doesn't make any sense.
That was our bit for the week, was the entire, because I posted it to my YouTube page, his interview with in the big media room. I swear the entire time Gunnar Stockton was just, man, I'm so happy to play at the University of Georgia. It's just such a blessing to play at Georgia. That was Gunnar for 20 minutes. And honestly, I'm a fan of it. I enjoyed it. We'll go ahead and take our next time out. I'll reveal what my ballot was, and then we'll get into the all SEC teams that were projected by the media members right here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. For the radio listeners, we'll be right back.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
This episode sponsored by Lease End. Before you return your leased car, stop. You could be handing back the exact car you should keep. If you already love the car in your driveway, Lease End makes buying it out simple. No dealership pressure, no back and forth, just a straightforward way to keep the car you already know and trust. Tell Lease End what you're driving, and Lease End handles the financing, so you can buy it out quickly, often with better terms than the dealership. Why give back the car you already love? With Lease End, you can keep what's already yours in every way that matters. Visit LEASEEND.com. That's LEASEEND.com before your lease is up. Lease End. Keep the car, skip the dealership.
And more. No referral, no problem. Search DCH Spine Care on Google. DCH's Spine Care Center. Get back in the game.
Your home for Alabama Crimson Tide football. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
okay. Welcome back to the Deep South College Football Show. I didn't even have time to go pee. Anyways, here, welcome back. Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. For the YouTube listeners, these ad breaks have been like a minute long, so I don't even have time to go grab a drink here. Regardless, though, we're back here talking a little bit about recapping SEC Media Days, the first team, second team, third team, all SEC ballots, our ballots for who we voted here in the predicted order of finish in the SEC. So I'll throw up again for reference the predicted order of finish that I got in my email inbox 2.5 hours ago now. This was my ballot here. I had Texas finishing as the first team in the SEC in the regular season. I had Georgia finishing second. That little SEC championship trophy means I have Georgia winning the SEC championship. Ole Miss, Alabama, and Oklahoma. We did our season predictions, so everybody knows this if you've been watching these deep dives and breakdowns and previews. I have all three of them going 10-2. I have no idea what the tiebreaker is in that scenario because Ole Miss and Oklahoma play each other. Alabama plays neither. So I don't know what this tiebreaker would end up being. 3, 4, and 5 are all damn near interchangeable for me at this point, but this is just the way I put it.
I think the tiebreaker would come down to because Georgia plays Ole Miss and Oklahoma and Alabama. So I think it would have to revolve around the winners and points scored in those games and the
record against common opponent. Record against common opponent. Okay, so that would make sense. So I want to say, because I had Georgia going 11-1, so I guess whoever was the one that beat Georgia, because I know it was one of those three, have a feeling it was Alabama, because at this point I'm going to pick Bama. It's the same thing as Georgia and Texas. Yeah, Texas may look really damn good, but until they actually go out and beat Georgia, they're going to have to prove me wrong. So I think I picked Georgia to lose to Alabama as their one, which means that Alabama would be third in the SEC.
Right, and then Texas plays Ole Miss and Oklahoma as well, and A&M and LSU.
Well, and those two play head-to-head, so I have a feeling if it boils down to, all right, these three are 10-3 or 10-2, Alabama was the only one that beat Georgia out of those three, so Alabama gets that third spot. Okay, 4 and 5 is between Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Well, they played head-to-head, so who won that game? And, okay, so I have a feeling that's how that'll sort out there. So, for me, 3, 4, 5 are completely interchangeable here. There is this idea that Texas A&M is going to be a better football team this season, and I think they are. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. The problem is that they don't play the entire bottom half of the SEC again this season. So they're going to be facing tougher competition. Same thing as Alabama, Georgia, and Texas, Georgia. Until Texas A&M beats Texas, I'm not picking Texas A&M to win that football game. So A&M comes in at 6, LSU at 7, and there's just a massive drop from number 7 to the rest of the conference, in my opinion. Florida at 8, Tennessee at 9. Tennessee's got a really good team, but I think that quarterback's going to hold them back. Missouri, Ahmad Hardy. We did get some positive updates on Ahmad Hardy, but still not completely clear on when he's going to see the field again. Could see Missouri kind of sluggish start, and then Ahmad Hardy gets reinserted into that lineup, and boom, they're off and running at that point. But at that point, is it too little too late? I don't know.
Is it fair to say that those top 7 teams are all arguably going to be vying for a playoff spot, especially if all of them finish 10-2 or better?
I think if I remember correctly, with A&M being my 6th place team, I had them going 9-3, and I think I had LSU sitting around that same window. If not 9-3, then they were definitely 8-4. Yeah, 1 through 7 could all be competing for a playoff spot. Maybe not number 7 exactly. 1 through 6, though. I mean, Texas is probably going to be the number 1 team in the country until they lose to Georgia. Georgia's probably going to be a top 4 team rolling into Atlanta. Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Alabama, I expect to all be top 15 teams. A&M could be the one that I see is like 9-3, but they're sitting at like number 19 or number 20. Same thing with LSU. If LSU is 9-3, I expect them to be just outside of the top 15, if not number 15. So yes, like half of the top 15 could be SEC teams.
Because I mean, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves trying to predict the final 12, but
we'll do that later. We'll do that later in August.
Right, but I mean, I guess a little preview here. The ACC arguably has 1 team, Miami.
1.
Big Ten 3, so that's 4.
Yeah.
The other 7 could come from the SEC.
Could easily could come from the SEC. I also think
you got to throw Notre Dame in there.
Notre Dame. You also mentioned the Big Ten. I think USC could be a sneaky team this year. Jada Mayava, they seem to be getting a little bit more physical over there. Could Michigan come back and surprise people with Kyle Whittingham? I think we're a year early on that. But, yeah, I mean, the Big Ten's got 3. The ACC's got 1. Notre Dame's Notre Dame. So there's 4. The next 7 could all come from the Southeastern Conference, or at least the 7 are sprinkled in there with a very large coalition of SEC teams from number 6 down to number 15. And I wouldn't be shocked if at some point this season we see number 5 through number 12 are just all SEC teams. I would not be shocked at all. Go ahead, Jackson. You look like you were trying to hit the button and talk a little bit.
No, yeah, I agree. But I was also going to ask, is it still required that they have to put in the highest ranked G5 champion?
It is, yes.
Okay.
I guess G6 now because the Pac-12 is back. So theoretically speaking, we'll have the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, and somebody. I went with UNLV the other day just because your normal American teams are all having new coaches this year. USF, Alex Golish sits in Auburn. Tulane, John Summerall's now at Florida. Memphis, Ryan Silverfield is now at Arkansas. The only one that's the same is Boise State. No Ashton Genty.
We talked about that the other day. I believe it wasn't in Tampa, but we talked about it on the show. I said this kind of feels like a year where the G6 rep will come from the western side of the state, Boise State, or from the western side of the country, rather. Right. On the West Coast, if it's the Pac-12, if it's the Mountain West, if it's a school out there, if it's North Dakota State. Doubtful, but you never know.
I'd love it. I did go with UNLV, though. They've got a veteran quarterback who's not playing SEC-level competition with Jackson Arnold. Dan Mullen is a good football coach, but that's my predicted order of finish. Missouri at 10, Vandy at 11, Auburn at 12, South Carolina 13, Arkansas 14, Mississippi State 15, Kentucky sitting at number 16. Again, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Kentucky, I'd rather go play Rutgers, Northwestern, and Purdue than I'd rather travel to Rutgers, Northwestern, or Purdue than have to go to Fayetteville, Starkville, or Lexington. And Alabama's got to make 2 of those road trips this year. So going to be a really fun SEC football season, too. Let's go ahead and jump out on the phone lines because we do got some callers on hold here. 205-342-9904. Let's talk with our buddy Pat right here in Tuscaloosa. Pat, how you doing? Pat, you there?
I'm here.
What's going on, man? What's on your mind today?
Do you think that LSU is going to be our stumbling block? And is Coach O the X factor in LSU winning in Red State?
I think a lot of people are a year early on the LSU hype. I think they're going to be good. I've got them either 9-3 or 8-4. I don't have my list pulled up in front of me right now of records, but they're going to be really, really good this season. But a really, really good LSU team normally is still not beating Alabama, even if that game's in Death Valley, which, by the way, shout out Nick Kelly. He did a really good article. He asked every player that he could and every coach that he could, what's the toughest place to play in the SEC? LSU got 2 votes.
What was LSU? What rank did LSU get out of that?
LSU got, he said he asked 25 people. LSU got 2 votes out of 25 as the toughest place to play in the SEC. Neyland Stadium, I think, was number 1.
If you get ahead of LSU, they're leaving. When we were down at the Superdome at halftime, LSU cleaned the stadium out at halftime. When they couldn't get past the 50-yard line, they literally left. You couldn't shake keys, because I love when they start leaving. I like shaking a big old ring of keys at them. Crank up the bus. The party's over.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you get to do that as an opposing fan in somebody else's stadium. Because I know Crimson Chaos does it to everybody in Coleman Coliseum, and that's always really fun to get to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. But but Tiger Stadium, when they've had all day long to get drunk, Tiger Stadium at night is a very, very difficult place to play.
Yes, it is.
When they're good, and they've been good at times, and when they're good and when they get ahead of you, it's just formidable a place now. I was at War Memorial Stadium, I guess that's the name of it, over in Little Rock. That stadium has all metal bleachers. They only sit less than 60,000 people, somewhere in that number. Not sure exactly, but they can make some noise in that aluminum stadium when they start calling the hogs. But
yeah, they can.
Luckily, David Palmer,
they can.
The last time I was there, David Palmer was my X Factor that got to play when he came in at halftime. He was suspended, I think, for the first half. He came in at halftime, and he turned that thing around, and it was electric in there. You hear me?
That was a lot of fun. It was, yeah.
Bill Clinton was running for president. How long ago? Bill Clinton was running for president, and he so silver-headed himself was up there in the top of the stadium in the press box. You could see nothing but that hair. And we
I wasn't quite on the beat by that point yet, Pat, but I'll take your word on that one.
Yeah. It was one of them ones where I'm a little older than you, but now Jackson, Mississippi, not so much. I was there when Ole Miss got up on us 21-0 at Ole Miss. They're in Jackson, Mississippi, and they were making some noise, but by halftime they had walked out of the stadium and threw their rebel flags down, broke them, and stomped on them walking out of the stadium. And my little boy said, "Daddy, why are they breaking all their rebel flags?" I said, "Because it's Ole Miss." We were up on them 48-21 at halftime. Gary Hollingsworth was our quarterback, and I think Curry might have been the coach. I'm not sure. But
Pat, I gotta hit this timeout, man. But I appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Have a blessed day. Thank you for your help.
Absolutely, Pat. That's Pat in Tuscaloosa joining us via the phone lines right there. We'll go ahead and take our last break for our radio listeners, hoping that I have enough time to go grab a cup of water here, and we'll come back. We'll come back and wrap up the loose ends right here on the Deep South College Football Show.
West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Federal investigation has revealed that a young electrician who died at a Warrior Met coal mine in Tuscaloosa County earlier this month was crushed while performing maintenance on a longwall mining shield. A Tuscaloosa County jail inmate pulled off a brief escape yesterday evening, but didn't get far before being taken back into custody minutes later. And Theater Tuscaloosa is holding open auditions for its fall production of Clue this Monday and Tuesday at Sheldon State Community College. For the details on these stories and more free coverage of local news, get connected at TuscaloosaThread.com.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, we'll do a free-for-all Friday sponsored by Brian Harden Construction. We're going to have a chance to talk with Brent Beard. We're going to wrap up SEC Media Days perspective. We'll have the SEC latest voting and a lot more on the Friday edition of The Game, starting at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to
9 or stop by on Skyland Boulevard. Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. For those who know the difference. Mercedes-of-Tuscaloosa.com. Mercedes-of-Tuscaloosa.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Watch for heavy downpours. A flood watch in place for Walker and Winston counties through tomorrow morning. Sunshine, warm high 90 degrees and a light west breeze. Thunderstorms become likely this afternoon, tapering to a chance of storms overnight tonight down to 75. Storm chances linger into Saturday before dangerous near 100-degree heat returns on Monday. Keep that umbrella handy as we roll through the next day or so. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 88 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
For more from Tide 100.9,
Let's it fly, and there's it. Whoa.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud.
Deep South College Football Show. We got just a couple of minutes left in the program here, so let's go ahead and jump back out on our phone lines here, and let's talk with Ragged Glory. How you doing, man?
You know what? I'm doing great. I'll make this quick for you guys. After everything I've been listening to, who do you feel is going to be swimming in the sludge at the bottom of the barrel with Kentucky?
I've got Mississippi State that low, although after what we heard from Camario Taylor, that kid's a baller. I mean, if he plays half as good as what it sounds like he's going to, Mississippi State might be a threatening team this season.
Okay, I'm good with that. I want to know who's going to finish right above the University of Kentucky, because a 9-game conference schedule. Woo! Welcome to the big time.
It's going to be tough, man. But hey, look, again, it's talking season. Everybody feels great about their team in July and August. And then we get into September and half these people are ready for basketball season already. But Kentucky fans, they seem to really like what Will Stein had to say on Tuesday. Mississippi State is really high with Camario Taylor right now. Ryan Silverfield didn't embarrass himself or Arkansas, which I feel like is a success for that program right now. But those are my bottom three teams coming into this season.
Okay. Yeah, well, we got Arkansas down there. You know what? I still love Mississippi State. I love Arkansas because of old ties, lived there. And South Carolina, you know what? Pastor Payne was talking some stuff, but let me tell you one thing. You know what? You better back it up. But I think Kentucky's going to end up last. And there's going to be a couple, 3 teams maybe ahead of them, because it's just who the South is.
It's tough. The adjustment to the SEC is ridiculous. And by the way, shout out to Will Stein. This man was a coordinator in the Big Ten, like literally before he took the Kentucky job. He was the OC at Oregon. And then he gets here and he starts talking about the SEC, and he's talking about the SEC is the toughest conference. All of our teams have, are in the top 20 in strength of schedule. I'm like, look, you spineless son of a gun. It was like, I guarantee you, if you were asked this question a month and a half ago while you were still at Oregon, you'd have said, the Big Ten's the best conference, easily. So, hey, at least he did a good job catering to his new fan base.
Yeah, propaganda, hype. Yeah, let's get behind it. Nope, ain't going to happen. You got to show
Stand in the paint on your takes, man. That's what we do. I looked at my graphic, and I looked at my graphic because I posted it to multiple different spots. I've got like 6 bookmarks already. Somebody's going to call me an idiot by December. When this thing's all shaken out, somebody's going to tag me in it and be like, wow, this guy's a complete idiot. He was dead wrong. Well, guess what? We're all dead wrong every single time. We've only gotten the SEC champion right 10 times out of the 32 that we've done this.
Okay. So, hey, this is going to be fun, because I'll put Arkansas, I'll put Mississippi State, I'll put South Carolina, everybody ahead of Kentucky. No, you're going to have to show me something, bro. And you've got a tough road to hoe. So there it is there.
That they do. Ragged Glory, I got to get out of here and make way for Ryan Fowler, but I appreciate you calling in, man.
You're welcome.
That's Ragged Glory joining us via the phone lines there. That'll do it for us today on the radio side of things. Jackson Whitman, appreciate you, gentlemen. Pat, Ragged Glory, thank y'all for calling in. Another successful week, I would say, of SEC Media Days and the Deep South College Football Show. Coming up next, the game with Ryan Fowler from 2 until 6 p.m. And we will see you guys on Monday afternoon right here on Tide 100.9 and 12:30.